bringing you the latest news, game updates, insights, highlights, and everything Liberty Hockey. This is Rock the Rink, where Liberty Hockey lives.
Welcome back to the Rock the Rink podcast presented by Liberty University. Thank you guys so much for joining us. About 3/4 of the way through the month of June now, only about 3 months or so till regular season hockey picks back up. So, I mean, it's a long wait, but it's getting shorter. Stick with us. And, I mean, to keep you engaged, the men's Division I schedule has just been released, so a lot to talk about there as we take a look at who the men's Division I Flames will be playing next season. And, guys, I mean, just from a first glance, this looks like a pretty exciting schedule. I'm especially intrigued by that back half, you know, kind of when you hit those games in December against Minot, and that kind of gives you a taste for the second semester that's going to come. It gets you pretty pumped up for who they're going to play this year.
Yeah, I love it. You know, early October, Utah Mammoth come to town. No, I'm joking. Yeah. But no, Utah, it's good to always get some fresh blood in. And
Have they played them?
No, not
never at home.
Never.
Yeah.
No, it'll be cool to see them here for sure.
Yeah.
Love Jamestown coming down again. Always fun to watch them. And then, boy, but once just January hits, it's packed in there for a while, right? Like Annie was saying, Minot, Niagara, Adrian, Maryville, just kind of like boom, 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 boom. That's going to be some good hockey that gets you ready for playoffs.
Yeah, and you finished with 4 in a row against Ohio.
Yeah.
I know. I think Coach Handy has seen success in having that, let's say, buzzsaw schedule at the end of the year. They haven't won, but I think they've put themselves in a good spot year after year to give themselves a chance of that like national type prep feeling.
Yeah, and the biggest part too is you like the rev up, right? Like you start off with the junior team, then you play newly coming up NC State in D1 and also UNC and like kind of 1 games at home, and then it's just a slow rev up, kind of like how we saw this past season too. The only difference is you have a much more veteran team, so you're hoping chemistry starts a lot earlier and they can just hit the ground running.
Yeah, this past season, I mean, it was a long process of just kind of figuring yourself out. But hopefully, I mean, from the get-go this season, you'll have some new additions. But the majority of the team should be pretty comfortable in what they're doing this season. And, when I think about those Ohio games at the end of the year, these past couple of years, has it been one game, or has it been two-game series when you've gone the home and away? They've done that home and away with Ohio.
So, last year, they did 6, right? 2 in the fall, then they did 2 there, 2 here.
Okay.
The year before, they did 2 here in the fall, 2 there in the spring, and then since neither were in a conference, they did 1 at the very end, and they only played 1 game.
Yeah.
So,
Well, then there was the 2021 year where that's all they played.
That's right.
All right, play you guys 12 times.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, but that's kind of now as the years have gone on, it's a pretty sweet deal to have that, just to be able to play them so much at the end of the season because of how they're growing as well. It seems like Ohio and Liberty kind of on the same track where the past few seasons you've been so close. You have so much talent, and both of them are pursuing the same thing now. So it's a great deal to play them, the amount that they do at the end of the year. And like you said, Pat, I mean, it's a slow rev up, but once they hit that winter semester, it's going to get pretty real. So it's exciting to see. I mean, if you can pick one series on here, guys, which one excites you most?
It's a tough one. I think I love watching Adrian. I look forward to seeing them come in January. They've always played the way that I love watching a team play. They roll 4, they get the puck in deep. I wouldn't say, and that's the one thing about them too, it's not like they have any overly superstar talents, I'd say, on their roster. They just buy into a team game and they succeed through the team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Utah. Always good to see new blood in the LIC, right? Like a team you haven't seen before, especially them bringing their West Coast brand, and now they've made national multiple years in a row now. Especially, remember years ago, they were like one of those favorites at the Division II level, always coming out as the top 2 seed in the West. And then it took them a while to get their legs under them when they moved up to D1, and now seeing them consistently, it's good to see, not only them being back to the form they were at D2, but then also a new team, like I said, back in the LIC.
I'm trying to remember when we covered them in the Nationals preview show. Do they have a super high score, or was it defenseman or something?
They had a 4 that was pretty high score.
Up there, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see those West Coast teams, too, because you think about, Grand Canyon as well on the uprise, and UNLV, obviously, national champions, what they've done. It's getting pretty real out West, so that'll be fun to bring those teams over here.
Yeah, I like Maryville. I like that matchup. I like when they play each other. That's a team for me that, like, I don't want to say underperforms, but I feel like they're going to be a top 4 or 5 team every year, and they don't quite sneak into there.
This is the year, though.
Yeah,
I'll tell you why in a sec.
Okay, that sounds good. But I coming from the women's side, we have a natural rivalry with Maryville. So I like, we're in St. Louis 10 times a year at the women's side, and obviously nationals. So I love to see the M go down.
I'll say I think Maryville will be in the top 5 this year because Wheeler, their phenom rookie from the St. Louis area, a year under his belt, right? Wheeler.
Wagner?
Was it Wagner?
Max Wagner?
Yeah.
Max Wagner. Thank you.
Yeah, but
he
it's
can
cousin
wheel.
Wheeler is
Yeah. No, that's all right. Thanks for calling me out. No,
Josh Wheeler.
Wagner can wheel. And anyways, he can wheel. Like, he's not oversized, but he can score. And I think he led the team in goal scoring last year. Like, another year under his belt. The fact that they're able to get some St. Louis talent injected into the lineup. There was another kid from St. Louis, too, that was a St. Louis native. I can't remember his name. That was a freshman there last year who was good. He was good. So the fact that they're getting younger players from the community in that team, I think this will be the year that they can take a jump into the top 5.
Yeah, and they were almost there too, right? Like, obviously, they pushed UNLV to the brink, and then their goalie had to stand on his head making 50-plus saves, and they unfortunately drop in overtime.
That's the only other team that pushed them as much as Liberty did, I feel like, was Maryville.
So, because they went up
crazy.
2-0 early, and then basically played defense the rest of the game as best as they could. And so.
UNLV had that one guy, though, that played like a lot of time in the BCHL he was a good player. Like, anytime if you can play and succeed in the BCHL, you're going to do well in the ACHA.
Yeah. No, definitely a lot of opponents to look forward to on this schedule coming up next season, and also another signee for Liberty that's looks to be like a really good guy. They're bringing in forward Aiden Carney, a 6'4" guy from Paradise Valley, Arizona. This is the transfer from Maine, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The NCAA D1 transfer. Really exciting to have him join the squad. I mean, Pat, initial reaction to seeing that he signed with you guys, and what do you think he's going to bring to the team?
Well, I mean, one, he's a big body forward, which I think is huge, right? Like, I think him, along with the other NCAA transfer, Luke Monroe, will bring not only a high skill set, but then also good size, too, with your forward rank. So they kind of add to an already deep forward lineup, which is what you wanted, right? Like, I don't think, in my opinion, you needed to bring, like, in a blue chip player. I think you just need to add it to your depth and continue to have where you can have a group of 4 lines that you can roll. And right now, the 2 forwards that they've added, really complement that. And also, too, being such a big body, you probably know he's going to bring a big brand of physicality to the Flames forward ranks.
If he's anything like his pops, he will be. Keith Carney, that played for a lot of NHL teams in Arizona, obviously. Just big body guy. I think he'll bring that professional demeanor to him. We met him here a few years back when he had an official visit with Liberty, and just seems like a really nice kid. Again, he's a big dude, so that'll be helpful to a team that already has some size to add on just another one. Like, this Liberty team is one of the bigger teams that I think we can remember in recent, maybe ever. Like, in all truthfulness, and maybe the biggest team. Yeah, you think of a team that's like bigger in stature.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's hard to go back through the memory banks, and so, like, I'm not that tall in stature. So they're all big to me.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, the times like Masterton was here, like that team. You had Semenina. Like, you're pulling out names out of the old hat. Dykstra. He wasn't like overly big, but he was decent size. I don't know. I think he was like 6'1", 6'2".
I mean, what's tall then?
Yeah.
I
got 6'1".
Are you 6'4"?
Yeah, I'm 6'4".
Okay, so like you are taller? Alan?
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking in that 6'3" is kind of like you've hit
so
tall.
like Olsen's a big body.
Yeah.
Right? Versailles, he's not big, but
no, he was thick.
Yeah, he's 6'1",
yeah,
and a half. We'll
call okay, that's fine. Okay, we can call those guys.
I agree though, like bringing a big body in to play with like a Demers, or not play with them, but like I just like. I'm picturing the lineup, and I have 3 holes at the top with the old Dougs. They're gone. Right? So, like, you see these signees, like, okay, great. Who's the centerman, who's not? But like, you basically have maybe 1 spot to fill there, and then you're set. And I think bringing in an NCAA transfer, we've seen it on the women's side, they come in with such an appreciation for the game. I don't know what his playing time and stats look like at that Division I level, but I feel like a lot of times when people get there, they realize it's not the dream that everybody dreamt about.
So that's a good point. Can I stop you? Sorry, I know I'm being rude to interrupt you, but he actually did play 24 games at the D1 level. So a lot of guys
After
who come
season or
So his first year he played, I believe, 19 games.
Okay.
And then 24. Yeah, 19 games. Second year he didn't play any. So
Oh, wow.
I'm
Okay.
thinking maybe because of injury.
Okay.
And then he played 4.
All right. So to your point, then you'll probably be right on track then.
Yeah, and so like he's obviously a skilled, physical, good player,
Yeah.
and so like the transition into a league where he can probably get more ice time,
Yeah.
and earn his way onto special teams. I think he's just gonna again like fall in love with the game again, because
Right.
I've seen it 2 or 3 times at the women's level where it's like, yeah, I just love being here. Like
Yeah.
with
Just being able to play and know you're going to be in the lineup.
yeah,
right?
and just like really develop those relationships and take leadership roles in certain areas, right? Because I think he's going to come in with a certain pedigree. Like the guys are going to naturally respect him in his hockey game because he made that level. Like
Yeah,
that's
right.
if you're a young kid, like that's the level.
Yeah.
And then it's the
Yeah.
NHL, but like to play at that level and have that and know. I think it's going to be huge for the program, and I think it'll be even really good for him too.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally
and,
agree.
Yeah, and just to clarify, after his freshman year, he had a back surgery, so that kind of took him out for the entirety of
okay.
his sophomore year, and then he had a couple more small injuries in his junior year because he
Yep.
played 3 seasons there. So
Yeah.
he got on the ice some in that 3rd season, but he said he's fully recovered now and kind of just excited to play again. So you mix
Yeah, it's perfect.
all of that with
Yeah.
the excitement just to be back on the ice and playing consistently. Should be really great things for the Flames. And now, Rhett, we haven't had you on here for a little bit.
Yeah, it has been a minute.
Yeah,
hasn't
as
it?
we're kind of, we're getting in the swing of things with committing guys, signing guys. What else are you looking for
on
from
this
this
team?
recruiting class? Yeah. What do you have your eyes on right
Yeah, like I'm a firm believer. It's really tough because you want to be loyal to the guys that you have and have done well, but in the same time, I think to win a national championship, you have to out-recruit your own team. And so, like, I don't know how many bodies you want to bring in, but you, like, to Justin's point, you lose your top line. Like, I think you need to try to recruit in your top line. Now, are they going to be your top line this coming season? Probably not, but in a year or two, hopefully they're that way. And I feel like you have to recruit that way. So you got 2 forwards, 1 defenseman. I definitely think you need another D or 2. I'd say 2, like the way the D go down. And then forward-wise, like I'd love to see 2 more bodies, and I'd love to see another body of substance. Like, make it hard on the guys that you already have to play. So raise their level, right? You want to up. You have not won a national championship yet, and it's tough to win a national championship, but that is the ultimate goal, right? You have a great foundation. It seems like this group has a really solid culture around the team. So it's not like you're having to reset that or any points. Right now, the goal is to win a natty, like at the meat of it. So bring in the guys that are going to help you get there. And so I would say another 2 forwards and another 2 D. And I do think this team is on the verge, but you're going to have to, again, you still need those bodies in order to do so.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll keep our eyes peeled for any new additions from that team.
Can I pause you really quick?
Yeah.
But I know Kirk's coming, but you guys, what do you guys think? Do you agree with that idea?
Of what
I just said? Yeah.
No, I agree. Because we said it a couple pods ago when we were talking about the recruiting class, but even last year, right? Like the goal of this past recruiting class needed to get you back to the Final Four. They achieved that.
Yes.
And then eventually beyond. You got to basically bring in guys that are going to do it. And like I said a minute ago, I don't think you need that guy who's going to be a 60, 70-point goal scorer. Or, sorry, not point scorer, right? You don't need that, right? Like, basically, your top point scorer this past year had 36 points, right? And you're a Final Four team. I think you need something similar to that. Like what Rhett said, you need guys to out-recruit. I do think you need that marquee defenseman because you did lose some. I think that's where you took the bigger hit.
Lost,
But if you can bring in my opinion, 1 more forward, 2 D, I think that'll be the biggest part. 1 more offensive minded and the other one a stay-at-home traditional D, because I think your forwards have proven like we'll put pucks in the back of the net. We just need you to get the puck on net, and that's it, because they have that crash mentality. But I do like what you're saying, because like basically you're saying, hey, every spot's open right now.
Right.
And so prove that you need to be on this team.
What happens if, let's say you go in and I'm trying to think of a guy that would be having like DeMars, okay? DeMars, let's say he's having a monster year, but then like hockey life strikes and he blows out his knee. Now, again, I'm hoping that's not the case. You need a guy that that can come in and next man up. Yeah. Thank you. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just like putting out the scenario. Like he really came on, and I think he probably statistically had the best like freshman year from a certain point on, right? He was just a dynamo. But you need to be able to have guys that can step in and fill that offensive role in case something, heaven forbid, happens like that. So, like I'm sure you've experienced like coaching the ladies teams, like just you guys never seem to be afraid of bringing in high-end talent year after year. Like, what was the mindset behind that?
Well, I think Coach Lowe's, it's obviously you want to develop these players and have girls rise to the occasion. But, like, if there's a really talented player that's as good as your top line or better, like, you're going to bring them in, right? It's kind of it's almost like a no-brainer. Like, yes, we want to develop these girls, but, like, you still want to win. Right. So you kind of look at it more of like a business, like, hey, how are they going to fit in the lineup? How are they going to make us better? And also the other girls, right? We don't bring people in to replace them. We bring people in to raise the level, right? Which gives these girls an opportunity to rise to that level. And sometimes they don't meet that level, but that's also life.
Not that I don't want you to name names, but did you ever have a situation where somebody was upset about that? And I would be willing to guess that the majority of the team is like, yeah, on board. Like, this is going to make us better. But what do you do with that individual who's kind of like, man, this is probably going to push me out of the 12 that play. I'm going to be healthy. Yeah,
no, I think we haven't really brought anybody in, like, let's say at the break. I think that's maybe where you could run into trouble.
Gotcha.
Where it's like the scene from Miracle, but like when Coach Herb
we're family.
Like, hey, we're bringing it. Like, okay,
we're family here.
Prove it. I don't know what that was, but like, so like we haven't run into that situation.
Yeah.
Most of the recruiting for us has been in the fall.
Right.
So like everybody's excited. You get to know the girls, and you become teammates from the very start of the season.
And a great point. At that, everybody has the same opportunity from training camp on. To get their ice time.
Yeah. No, I like that, and I think to go off what you said, I think 2 defensemen that don't try to do too much.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need a big hit. You don't need to be the guy that goes end to end. Like make your passes, play the system that they're going to implement this year, and don't get burned. Right?
I think like guys with size too, like this the Liberty D and help jog my memory, but like I feel like as a whole you're pretty undersized group. Like Adamek is smaller now. He does play a lovely physical game, which I love. Smaller,
but also gets them in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes, right? Like you go for the big hit, like that's a 2-on-1.
Yeah, it could be.
But
Bogenholm is a smaller dude. Anderson.
That big.
Yeah, Pomerleau's not overly big either.
Anderson's big. Decent size.
I
would think of Bogenholm a little taller though too.
Would you?
Like he's 6 foot.
I feel like he's a smaller, more like puck mover D. That's not overly physical.
Yeah, he's a puck mover D, but like size wise, like so if you're talking, if you're talking about,
thank you, Annie. I love it.
If you're talking about like bigger D, like okay, are you meaning bigger physical D or
I just
bigger?
Mean long.
That's what I mean.
Like I'm talking about long. I don't even. There's part of me that's my mentality's changed on defense. It's like I want guys that are difficult to get around. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to drive you through the wall and make you eat the boards, but just guys that are difficult just because of their reach to get around them, I think is turning into a more important aspect than just that rugged physicality.
But yeah, I would say like, if an old head like you were to put together...
that's a great point. Yeah.
Put together their perfect defense core.
Yeah.
Yeah, you maybe pick 1 guy, 2 guys off of this roster and build it, right?
Yeah.
Like you want a pronger. 6'4".
Yeah, you're right.
Reaches from here to across the room.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a guy like Pomerleau, he's not overly tall, he's not overly big, but I think he plays a style of game that's good. Like he is thinking, I need to keep you to the outside first.
Yeah.
I want to take that stick on puck and then quickly transition. So players like that don't need to be big.
Yeah.
Is it okay if it's icing on the cake if they're 6'4"? Great.
Right.
But like I think
and it's not like we have a free agency pool where you can just throw money and then get them here too. Like, I understand
Seth Jones is not available right now. So I agree. Maybe let's say undersized, but I think if you build it off the right structure and system, I think they can be very successful.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing Laz Cable, who was your biggest defenseman. He was 6'2". Other than that, I think your tallest are Luke Anderson, then Joe Feemster, also 6 foot. But you don't have anyone who's bigger.
How big is Anderson? How tall?
6 foot.
Is he? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
he plays taller in my mind.
Yeah, he does. I agree. I do
Yeah,
agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah. I got so many questions now. Like, how tall is Mike Fisher that just came in?
I don't.
6'1".
There we go. Okay. That a boy,
A
Mike.
little length.
Was
Yeah,
Let me see
Yeah,
your arm.
Extra inch.
How long?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So a lot to be excited for,
Yeah.
and I'm sure a lot's still going on behind the scenes. And to kind of help us shed some light on that, we got to talk with head coach Kirk Handy just a few moments ago. Well, lots of excitement surrounding this men's D1 team like we were just talking about. And now we have head coach Kirk Handy here to talk a little bit more about it with us. Coach, first of all, how's your off season been going? I mean, we're in the month of June now. Are you settled into summertime?
I am. Another couple weeks of camp here, and then I think I'll be settled in a little more.
A little more? Yeah, okay. Still busy, still working. I mean, you have some sons now who are getting a little bit older. They've been playing the game pretty seriously for quite some time. Tell me, hockey coach is your full-time job, but then also, what's it like being a hockey dad? What's your favorite part of that?
Oh, probably watching them play. I mean, I was at the rink this morning, walking around. They were skating on the rink this morning. I just love seeing that. That they're self-motivated and want to be out there to try and get better. So, yeah, it's fun having them around the rink. It's fun having them, really pretty close to where our guys are as far as workout capabilities and on ice capabilities. So it's kind of fun to see. It's been a long time coming, but it's kind of fun to see that they're almost a few years away from being at Liberty. So
Yeah.
I saw Parker. Was he like a counselor now? Like he was out there with a younger group with just his gear on, but like that's pretty wild to see. Like a few years ago, he was that little twerp in camp, and now he's leading the twerp.
probably causing problems.
Yeah, King Twerp.
Yeah, both him and Preston have been helping out just on ice.
That's really cool.
And yeah, it's neat. It's neat for them to give back, but it's also neat for them to see how hockey can be used as a platform to make a difference, right? And I think that's kind of the whole idea for my sons I love out of it is, hey, what skills can you learn from the game of hockey that you can apply to life once you're done playing hockey? And when you're playing hockey, how can we use the platform God's given us to honor him? And sometimes that's serving, sometimes that's the way we play, the way we talk. Mm-hmm. And so it's a great opportunity for them to use their gifts and abilities here for the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's really cool. I have seen them working out a lot in the mornings early with Coach Kerr and trying to make them better hockey player and young men. So that's really cool to see them putting in the work and improving their game, but also just as people. So that's cool.
Yeah, great story. Coach Kerr actually kicked them both out of the weight room the one day because they weren't eating enough, and so they weren't gaining as much weight as he wanted. So it was on the Wednesday and said, "Hey, we'll see you guys Monday." They were like, "What?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "You guys aren't the standard that I want you to." So that's fun too because they get to see like a different level of strength and conditioning, greater level of sports performance that is required this time of the year. So you're in a great spot in August when you go away.
Yeah, no, that's great. Are you sure it wasn't just because Coach Kerr got a text from his wife saying, "Hey, I need your help at home with the new baby"? But no, I know it's probably the standard. I like that.
Any of them wear 16?
No, I don't. Well, yeah, actually, my third son does.
Did they? Okay,
Yeah, Price does. He's
There you go.
he's maybe the one I love the most.
Yeah,
Right. They all kind of.
You were number 16?
Yeah,
I was like either that or Sasha Barkov, but I'm
I
assuming
think I
it was
wanted
yours.
12, and Steve Clark was 12, and
Okay.
so then I
Where do you
went
think
to 16.
Sasha got it from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Everybody has to have mentors.
Maybe
Best defensive forward.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
That's a complete opposite.
Blue line guy, right?
Right. I was trying to think, like, how many 16s have there been at the D1 level? I don't think there's been many outside of you.
What about LeBlanc?
LeBlanc?
Was he?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Scott Singer, I think he was.
Was he?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's not many. Not
Yeah.
many. I didn't know if you had like low key retired, just waiting for your boys to come. Like, hey,
why-
coach, 16? Nope, sorry.
It's check the rafters.
See me climbing up in the rafters. Yeah.
Sanders.
So, Coach, as the offseason rolls on, a big time right now for recruiting and signing guys to the team for next year. And you've had some pretty exciting guys sign on for next year's group already. We were just talking about them a moment ago. Could you kind of give us a glimpse behind the curtain? Because we know so much work goes on behind the scenes, especially with what Brett Berthume does throughout the season. And it's a long process. Could you kind of just walk us through the work that all of you guys put into that?
Yeah, it's a crazy process, and this year with the rules changing to allow CHL players to come in now has caused a big time effect on who NCAA Division I players are going after now, and then that's caused kind of a trickle down effect to ACHA Division I and NCAA Division III, and so it's opened the possibilities up to us a whole lot more this year. And I think our plan going into it has been, hey, let's be patient. Let's just not jump right away. Let's be patient and make sure that we've got the right guys who fit in from a culture perspective, and make sure we got the right guys who fit in on the ice to make our team successful. And Brett and Ben and I have spent hours and hours and hours on calls, and we're just on a Zoom call with a player the other day, and hopefully he's going to come in a defenseman, which we kind of need right now, is to shore up the back end. So, it's been an exciting process, and we have a couple other really quality men who are still wanting to come to Liberty, and we haven't committed to them right now, but as we get closer to that August date, we've got these guys who said, hey, we're already come to Liberty and we want to be a part of the Division I program, and we can see them part of the Division I program, but want to just make sure that that we don't oversell the bus, right? We want to make sure that we have the right amount of guys. We don't have too many guys. We want guys to be able to play and be able to be productive when they're here.
Yeah, and you think about the success you guys had with the recruiting class you brought in last season. I mean, your freshmen had an outstanding year. What stood out to you most about that class, and how can you build off that?
Well, great class. Brett did an excellent job with not only identifying talent, but as we're going through the recruitment process to make sure that we had the right guys who fit the culture that we wanted here at Liberty. And so, as we build on that, I think we've learned a lot of things from last year and from, last couple years on things that we want to do. I think one of the things that we want to make sure is we bring guys in who want to compete. We want guys who want to be competitors, not just on Friday and Saturday nights, but on Monday, on Thursday, on Wednesday, in the gym, in the classroom. We want guys who want to compete. And so for us, that's been a big attribute that we've tried to find in the guys that we're bringing in last year, and then as we've brought in the guys this year as well.
When you talk a lot about development of players, right? And you take the jump, but can you talk about the development of Brett, like as a recruiter? Because it takes time to kind of learn how to sell something. How have you seen him grow in bringing people to Liberty?
Well, it's funny. I think osmosis is a great one, right? And Brett gets himself out there with other people. Brett's on quite a few recruitment calls. Brett asks a lot of questions. I remember a few years ago we asked Marc-Andre Bourdon a lot of questions about what the Tampa Bay Lightning were doing, what he did in junior hockey, different recruiting aspects or things. But I think one of the things Brett's done really well is he listens. He listens to the recruit and the parents on the phone as to what degree program they want. I tell people all the time, if we can get people on campus, I'd say we're between 50 to 75% that we're going to get them here because of what Liberty offers. But Brett does a great job of doing that. But I had a moment a couple days ago. We're on a Zoom call with parents Ben and Brett and I heard Brett say things that I say. And I was kind of like, wait a second, he's stealing that.
But, taking my line.
But it's fun to hear him say things that he's learned, and we've seen as people have come in that those are the attributes that we really want. So Brett's an amazing man. He's grown our team to be what it is today, but he's passionate about it. He's passionate about his job.
Say that when he was on the podcast, he was talking about it, and you could see he's got the fire. He's the guy in the back room that he wants to see the guys on the ice succeed. He wants them to have better teammates. He wants this program to get the job done and win a national title, and I've seen that.
Well, and he's fine with us pushing him, right? Hey, Brett, are we sure? Are we sure that this guy's, got the character that we want? Yeah, I've made some calls, we've got these references in, So, he's really, it's funny because recruiting looks easy, but if you consider all the other aspects around the game, that's what we're really looking for, and that's what he's done an excellent job of kind of closing the loop on all that stuff.
Well, and based off of that, obviously, you talked about Ben and maybe the development part of things that it seems like a natural transition for him to become an assistant coach in your team with Coach Becker retiring. Maybe talk a little bit about how impactful adding Ben Hughes will be on your coaching staff.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me just say 20 years with Jeff was amazing.
That's
right?
Wild,
and Jeff and I talked about when he first came to talk. over the past couple of years, he's talked to me about it a few times because, his kids are getting older and his daughter's in pretty high competitive volleyball and Ty's, doing really well in hockey. And so when he came and talked to me this time, I knew that he had made his mind up. And 20 years, you think about it, when he came down, I was selling him, we're playing in Roanoke. It's
true.
not we're
You're
playing in
recruiting,
Lynchburg,
yeah.
right? And so for him to come down, for him to kind of catch the vision of what Liberty was doing and kind of where we wanted to go with it and where God was taking us was awesome. One of the key things he did was bring in the missions trips, right? That was Jeff's whole idea. And since then, we've been to Sweden, Latvia, Russia, China. We've been to Finland twice and going back for a third time in January.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's been neat. But Ben, Ben was the first one that I went to talk to. Ben was the first one who I thought about when, after Jeff had said that to me. Ben has been someone who has been a part of our program. Ben played at a very high level of junior hockey. Ben embodied what it was to be the best of being a part of our program as a player, as a captain, and then has done a wonderful job with the Division II team and was very active with us on the recruiting process for the past 8 years. So we obviously knew a lot of what Ben could bring to the table, and what I think he's really going to do is he will really give our defensemen an opportunity to be great at what they're doing, because Ben was a wonderful player when he played the game, and he really sees the game from their perspective, and I think it'll really help out our young defensemen become that much better.
Yeah, no, thinking about it, I think that's a really good natural fit for Ben, just to pour into these guys on and off the ice. He's got a young family. He's got a heart after the Lord. I know we go to the same church, and I can't speak highly enough about a guy like Ben. So I think that's a huge pickup for you guys in the locker room as well.
Yeah, and then you talk about on the men's Division II side, Coach Garland coming up to be the head guy there, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But having all these alumni come in and take on all these coaching roles in the program, how much does that help from a culture perspective? Just knowing that all your bases are covered kind of on every level. You've Josh Wagner coaching D3, just having the trust that you do in these guys, because you know that they've been through the program and they value wearing the flames on their chest.
Well, I think it does a couple things. It gives them, when we bring in people who have been at Liberty, and Liberty's made a difference in their own lives, it brings a lot of passion, a lot of energy, but it brings stability. And I think at the end of the day, that's what you always look for is, hey, how can we continue to grow? Well, one of the keys is not having turnover every year, having the same people there who then can continue to grow as coaches, right? One of the key things you look for is, can they grow as a coach? And, Christian's done a wonderful job with Ben, the success on and off the ice, but one of the things I always do is when we were considering Christian, you first check with Ben. Hey, Ben, is he the right guy? Was Josh Wagner the right guy? Yeah, obviously they are. And those guys know and breathe and embody what Liberty's all about. And really, because hockey's made a difference in their life, and hockey playing at Liberty has made a difference in their life, they want to give back naturally more to the program than what's being asked of them.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're super excited to see it. Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I got one more question. It's been 3 months. Can we talk about it? What, in your opinion, your take on the last game of the season against UNLV?
I thought it was like, is he going to talk about the Leafs here or what?
I learned I probably should bring up the Leafs on the podcast.
It'd be a long story. Yeah. So it is interesting. In fact, I was talking with one of our players yesterday. One of the people checking into camp was like, hey, we were following you guys the whole time, and we saw what happened in the third period. And I will say this. When you get down to the final 8, they're all great teams.
Yeah,
you get down to the final 4, they're all great teams. And, looking back on it, hey, we were up. Could we have changed things? For sure. You always go back and you rethink everything. But at the end of the day, I love our players. I love the position they put us in all year.
Yeah.
And if you had told me this time last year that you guys will be in the Final Four and you'll be up going in the third period, I would have said, man, I'll take that every day of the week. Right?
Yeah.
And so when we got to that point, I think there was a couple things that happened and some pushback that they had on us. Mm-hmm. I think probably after that second goal went in, I probably would have called timeout.
Okay.
Hindsight on that, I probably would have called timeout just to settle everyone down, and we waited a little bit longer, and that's something that I think that I would do differently next time.
Well, speaking of the Leafs, we won't get into it, but like the fact that UNLV,
what would I do to change the Leafs?
No. We don't, like you said, we don't have that much time. But looking at a UNLV Looking at a UNLV team, they thumped everybody before that. And the fact that you guys were up 2-0, like you could have easily been down. So the way that it happened, it seems dramatic, but that's a very, very skilled team. And then they went on the next day and absolutely thumped. Who was it? Adrian,
yeah.
right? So, I mean, it was.
You gave them their best test.
Yeah, it was their time, and it's one of those things. I just wanted to kind of get your take on it. But
and I also love the fact that we've got so much experience at the tournament now.
Yeah.
Right? And you go into it now, and it's not like it was 5 years ago where, your first round, maybe get in the second round. I think what we've been able to prove over the last 5 years is we have the ability and the leadership ability and the maturity now to walk through a tournament like that. And so I give our guys a lot of credit. I thought that they were, that they gave themselves every opportunity to be successful.
I agree.
Yeah. Before we let you go, Coach, it is summer, and I don't know if you have any vacations planned, but I want you to give me your top 3 summer destinations in Canada, and we'll see if Rhett.
Oh boy.
We'll see if it aligns with Rhett.
And
Okay?
Tim
Justin, he's Canadian too.
Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
And I'm going on vacation next week. We'll see if it gets in the top.
I'm going later this week. I'm taking my kids up to the Chicago area, and there's Tim's on the way. I have them all plotted out. Right?
Actually, quick story. When I was in Austin, Texas for the men's lacrosse game, it was raining. Rainstorm delay, and so I'm there with Carl Harder, a guy who was our video coach, and Brandon, and so
that's right.
They said, "Hey, delay. Would you like to go to Tim Hortons?" I'm like, "Yeah, right, guys. We're in Austin, Texas. Yeah, 15 minutes away.
There's a Tim's in Texas.
Yes, Austin, Texas.
What? I'm moving.
Yeah. So it was great. We had a coffee and then came back.
All right.
But I would say top 3. Muskoka, and definitely on the water in Muskoka.
Yeah.
That'd be number 1.
Check.
Yeah.
He would check.
Number 2 would be Banff.
Yeah.
And number 3, trying to think. Number 3.
Pat's been to Banff. He speaks highly of it.
He does. Yeah.
Number 3 might be downtown Toronto to catch a Blue Jays and Argos game, maybe. I haven't been to the Argos game in years.
I would say no, just because I don't like cities. I'm like, get me out of there.
Yeah.
Especially not.
Well,
Have you guys ever been to Gaspé, Quebec?
Oh, yeah, but
It's really
hey,
pretty.
if I have a hard problem trying to speak there, to be honest,
You'll be fine.
my dad used to go, and he
Yeah.
was wonderful. He would speak mostly sort of French,
Yeah.
but some
Franglish. Yeah.
but he would get us by. But if it was me, I'd have to take Bert with me or
Yeah,
Mark.
there you go. Anyways, no, those are good. That's a good list.
Great. Yeah, Coach, I hope that the Lord is fortunate and you get to go on all those vacations this summer. So wishing for the best for you. But thank you for the time. We're excited to see what you guys do next season.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys.
Well, nice talking with head coach Kirk Handy. It's been a while since we've had him on the podcast,
Yeah.
so great to kind of hear his take on this past season and everything that's coming up.
Yeah, good to hear he's talking to a defenseman. Hopefully he checks with Rhett to make sure that he's tall enough.
Make sure he's
has that good wingspan.
6'9". That's right. Chara's son. Yeah.
No, I mean, it was really exciting to see what's coming up for this team and hard at work that group is over there. And also, around LU hockey, some big things going on. Chelsea Greenwood, she becomes the first women's assistant coach in the OJHL. She's going to be the assistant coach of the Junior A Tier 2, Lindsay Muskie.
Love Lindsay, Ontario. Great
Lindsay,
place.
Ontario.
Oh, yeah, not too far away from where my grandparents were.
Is that
at,
one of
so.
your top 3 places you like to go?
No, Lindsay wouldn't be there. It's a nice little town, though. Former Flame Jonathan Schubert was from Lindsay, and I think a lot of the Zealands that are mixed into Liberty University.
No way.
I think
They're from there?
I think Lindsay is their hometown, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Does he have a daughter named Lindsay? Imagine your kid.
Yeah, I know.
Have you named any of your 27 children?
Do you know I named my dog. Actually, yes, I have.
Really?
Yeah, my dog's name is Muskoka.
Okay.
And my daughter's name is Allura. You know Allura, Ontario?
I do now.
Yeah. Do you know it or no? Okay, it's just like one of those pretty small Canadian towns that I love, and I love the name. So
it must be. I mean, it's not just a Canadian thing. It's like people name their kid Brooklyn all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
New Jersey. I don't.
Yeah. Garden City.
So great to see what Chelsea Greenwood's doing. I mean, she was one of the pioneers of this LU team that was winning national championships. She played on Liberty Women's Division I's first national championship team way back in 2015. Got another natty in 2018. Scored over 100 points in her 4 years with Women's Division I. So excellence as a player, and we're excited to see what she's going to do as a coach. So hey, it's great to
Congrats.
from a program
That's awesome.
standpoint too. It's awesome to tell your players, we had someone go on and do these types of things, making amazing things happen. So it's great for the program as a whole. We talk about shaking things up. Men's Division II, it's official now. Christian Garland, the new head coach of the Division II program after Ben Hughes moves on to go and help out Division I. So I think just as an overall consensus and feeling, everyone's really excited about this move and what he's going to bring. I know that, players loved him and everything he brought as an assistant coach for many years, and he seems really excited just to be able to fully devote his time to this program, because as an assistant, once you get the call to be the head guy, it changes everything, right, Rhett?
Yeah, it really does. Being an assistant coach is nice. Just this fact that you can kind of have more of a relationship and you don't have to be as hard on the players, but now the dime stops with you. So it'll be interesting to see how he fills out his staff. I know that there's some things in the works that are gonna make obviously fill out his coaching staff, and we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, great for Christian. Really excited for him. I've been kind of looking forward to this day for, I feel like several years. You kind of knew it was in the cards for him to eventually become a head coach at one of the Liberty Hockey divisions, whether it was D3 or D2. That was just kind of like one of those things we're waiting to see. Yeah. Really detail-oriented guy. When you broadcast with him, you can tell, you can just see his mind working. And one thing I always loved is that I feel like when I broadcast with him, I'm learning something, and that's always fun. So I think this team will be detail-oriented, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah,
and we'll miss him on our broadcast team too.
We'll get him here and there. We'll get him here. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, it's great to see for this team, especially when you consider the amount of guys that they're losing this year. It's it's going to be a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
But I feel like
for sure.
Just from talking with him here and there, when you pretty much knew he was going to get the job, him kind of just being excited to tackle that on instead of being overwhelmed like a lot of people might be. It's a clean slate to kind of build this team how he wants to. But, great stuff to see and a lot of great stuff to come. So let's talk now with the new head coach of Division II, Christian Garland. We were just talking about the men's Division II team, exciting stuff coming up for them. And now we have their new head coach, Christian Garland, making his debut this season. Christian, thank you for the time. Actually, my first question, though, isn't about you at all.
Boy, you're excited. You didn't even let him say, I'm glad to be here. You're just like right to it.
Because I need to know how Monica is doing this morning. Big Panthers fan. How's she feeling with...
Just for reference, this is ahead of Game 6, everybody.
Game 6.
I was like, do not tell me that I missed a game and they won at all.
No.
Is there a lot of nerves in the household? How's she feeling? Weren't you guys in Florida?
You're a Panthers fan too, like quasi, right?
Yeah, we've been here before.
We've been here before. This isn't a big game for us.
I kind of became a Panthers fan my freshman year. The stats guy on our team, he brought me down to South Florida. And took me to a couple games, and it was like, oh, these are awesome and super cheap, and we can sit 3 rows off the ice for $10. And then getting to know Monica and dating Monica and her family being in South Florida took us down there a lot. Got to go to a lot of games.
Okay,
and
we'll give you that one.
Yeah, we were at games 3 and 4. Game 3 was awesome. Game 4, from a hockey fan perspective, was awesome, but not so much from a Panthers perspective. But no, not too
of this series. You're at 3 and 4.
Yeah,
look at this guy. Look at this guy living the good life.
Very
with
fortunate.
A small kid just buzzing.
And we ordered our blizzards last night and jumping on the blizzard bandwagon with the rest of the cast.
Marshy?
Yeah, it worked. It worked in Game 5. So here we are.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you've been there before, so I guess not too much is going to get you worked up about it. But, we were talking to Kirk just a moment ago when you were sitting behind the camera. I saw you smiling when we talk about how you're going to fix the Leafs. Do you have any tips here for Rhett? I mean, Rhett has been agonized by the Leafs for the past however many years he's been alive.
41 years.
What's your take?
9 kids
on
later.
the Leafs?
I think it's really hard for them to actually play in the moment with the amount of pressure that they have from the city, the province, the country. I think it's just a really hard thing to fix, and they go about their trying to add grit every single year, and that kind of stabs them in the back with dumb penalties or suspensions, and I feel like guys just lose themselves in that moment instead of grabbing the moment by the horns. So it's really tough to fix. I do think they took some good strides with Berube coming in this year, but getting bigger and even more tough, bigger, especially on the back end. I think they had a good goalie in Stolars this year who obviously
What happened to him?
Unfortunate and clapper to the dome.
That's what.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with
Yeah,
that.
me
think
too, actually.
adding more grit and size in the back end, it's kind of the template right now, and that's how I would fix them.
Yeah, you agree, Rhett?
You don't want to wind me up because I'll go off for 10 minutes.
yeah,
we can do this on the we can do this on the special Rock the Rink
After
Leafs
dark.
edition. Yeah, we have enough
I
people
recommend
here.
if you want to know about the Leafs, watch Steve Dangle's podcast
Oh my
on
gosh,
YouTube.
please don't tell me.
He's
You like
awesome.
Dangle?
Oh, I love Dangle.
I can't stand
I watch him after every hockey playoff game. Other than that, I don't watch. But
I don't mind him, but he's I can't do it. I can't do it. I like
lot.
you ever watch the Leafs Nation podcast as Jay Rosehill on it? Oh, I love him. He's just a good Alberta boy that's like speaks the truth. He actually, you remember when he played for the Leafs?
Yep.
He never got his alumni jacket and he was worried about it because he talks like he's pretty blunt and honest about it.
Yeah.
And so he finally got his coat this year.
I heard a lot
but
of good things, but the jackets. But
Yeah. No, before we dive into Christian, one more thing, guys. After a tough,
Yeah.
because I think, I love the NFL with my whole heart. And when the 49ers take a tough loss, I mean, I turn straight to the sports radio, to the people who are just, losing their minds over it because it kind of makes me feel better. Are you guys like that, or do you kind of just shut it off? And
No, I'm done. I'm
you're
done when it's over.
You can't listen to it.
yeah, I don't really pay attention.
I'll look at stuff the next day. I grew up like my info on hockey was always Twitter. I remember the first time when Twitter first came out and the first trade was broken on Twitter. I was like, this is the stuff. So I'll look up my phone for a while afterwards and kind of look at some hot takes. But I'm not going to sit down and listen to a 30-minute
I was
show.
just I watched the highlights the next morning with Jay Onright, Dan O'Toole, Hurricane Hazel, Sportsnet or TSN. Just depends.
You were going so far back. Those guys don't even work for.
It's easy to consume it for me when your team wins. But after they lose, holy smokes, it's tough. It's so easy to want to watch the post-game pressers when you win. But when you lose, it's tough.
I feel like I want it even more when they lose, just because I want someone else who's feeling the same thing as me.
Oh, you want somebody else feeling your
I
pain?
want them to
get
tear
that.
the team apart, so I can just be like, exactly. But yeah, that's just me. So Christian, congratulations on the job.
Thank you.
We're all really, really pumped up with what you're going to do with this D2 team. And can you just walk us through, initially when it was presented to you that, hey, this job is yours for the taking, what made you want to go after this and really pursue this path now?
Holy smokes, loaded question. It was not really in the cards for us beforehand. And Ben and I even talked about it in St. Louis, about the future of the team before we knew all of these things were about to happen. And I kind of had said, if you're not the head coach, I don't think that I would want to assistant coach for someone else, just because we've built such a good relationship and such great chemistry together. And we've taken the program in a direction I feel like it hadn't been taken before, and really had so much success on and off the ice, specifically off the ice, together. And then I walked out of the last game against Army, where we had known already that we were eliminated, and not knowing that it was the last game we were going to coach together. And I walked out of that rink and I looked out over the sheet. I was the only person in the rink at that time, and I felt God kind of smack me right in the face for the first time and say, hey, this is where you need to be. And I said, okay, I'll assistant coach this team until you tell me I shouldn't do it anymore. And then 2 weeks later, everything blows up. Ben's gone. Ben calls me and tells me the news, and he says, yeah, you're going to be the D2 head coach if you want it. And that just kind of sent Monica and I into a head spin. We were like, what the heck is going on here? Did not expect this. It was kind of a no-brainer to stick around, and the logistics all worked out and the job worked out, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
Yeah. So at what point does that, head spinning and, that you had at first, at what point did that turn into excitement for how you can shape and keep developing this program that's been doing really well recently?
I would say at prospect camp, it was still not all worked out logistically yet, but at prospect camp, and props to Brett specifically for putting on the best one I think we've ever had, specifically for Group 2. There were some awesome guys in Group 1 as well, but we lost so many pieces of what had been our core for the last 3 to 5 years. I talk about guys like Josh Harrell, Cooper Neal, Thomas Kaner, specifically Lane Scon, Roman Lamrou, other guys that I'm forgetting here, but not trying to diminish what they did. But after that prospect camp, it was like, holy smokes, we got a bunch of really good players to come in and fill those voids and bring us back up to the 25-man roster that we want to carry. And we feel like a lot of those guys can have a heavy impact early on. Obviously, we got to mold them the way we want them to play, but felt really good about it after prospect camp. And I would say just yesterday was the day it really kind of slowed down because I had to do a lot of scheduling work and finally finalized and confirmed all of our games for next year yesterday, and I feel like now I can kind of take a step back and breathe. And
what are some games you're excited about this upcoming season?
Holy smokes, there's a lot. There's some new ones.
Are you going to Florida?
Yeah, we're going to Florida early September,
trip, right?
mid-September, but early on in the season. Playing a few new teams. High Point to open up the year.
Okay.
We got Virginia Tech, 2 home and homes.
That's good.
Oh, that's
which
good.
putting them back on the schedule.
Because I feel like that
build
makes a lot of
relationship
sense
with them,
right? Because I know
Logistically.
historically they haven't been on the schedule, but that makes a lot of sense.
So really excited to build a relationship with them and hopefully somewhat of a rivalry down the line.
Yeah.
Losing NC State, UNC, and Kentucky, those are the teams that will come to us every year, and that's 6 to 8 games that we lost. So it was tough to find teams, especially this late in the game, to fill those in. St. Bonaventure is going to come down. Army is coming down for the first time, and they're just a grind battle.
Yeah.
If you could play them 15 times in a year, you'd be happy because they're a playoff team that is very tough. Northeastern's coming back. Lindenwood will be coming back.
Cool.
I'm really impressed with
That's great.
the quality of teams. And we have a longer delay kind of from before Thanksgiving until January, but then after that we play every single weekend up until regionals.
How do you feel about that? Because I know we've talked about it maybe on the pod that like if you look historically at the men's Division II schedule, it looks to a layman and a Leafs fan like it's a little heavy. Right. And it's kind of like, do you give a team time to recover? Because you guys were typically always back early in January before the things start. So it's like maybe this year is a great time to like make notes and say like, hey, like, so the burnout isn't there, or even just being healthy. How do you feel about that?
Right. I'm kind of on both sides of the fence here.
Totally.
Like it's tough to take so much time off, but we will have a very tough fall. And a couple of our trips are in the fall, the longer trips, and getting those out of the way and getting healthy and kind of more teaching the guys the systems we want them to play and instilling in them that this is how we play and how we were expected to play. And then we've got a couple months to refine it before it's, hey, now it all, obviously every game matters, but it really matters in January once you hit, and every weekend we're playing games.
Do you have any assistant coaches yet? Because I know obviously Ben moving up, you're getting that job, and I don't know if Coach Graham or Coach Wilson was involved as well, right?
Yeah, so Josh Graham is going to come back as the assistant coach. We've got some feelers out there on guys that are potentially willing to help out, not in a full-time assistant coach capacity.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited for Josh. He obviously has a great mind for the game and loves the kids. But both of us being embedded in club sports will just allow us so much more depth to go into relationships with players and the hockey side of things. So I'm really pumped for that opportunity and to work with him.
Great.
When you said that, obviously a lot of your core is left, is now kind of like the perfect timing, even though I know you didn't mean for it to happen, for like a regime change in some ways with a bunch of fresh faces. You don't have guys that are kind of used to, and I'm sure there's going to be similarities in your and Ben's style, but obviously you're your own person. You're going to bring in different elements. Is it the perfect time for that core to move on, to bring in a new core and for you to be head coach?
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, but yeah, like thinking about it now, I would say yes, it is, because if we'd have done this last year, we'd have almost the entirely same team coming into this past fall, and now there's going to be so many new faces, and we're going to have a deeper lineup than we had. So yeah, it's very exciting to kind of put my own fingerprints on it.
Yeah, what are the biggest challenges just from a team leadership perspective? I mean, I know you guys haven't named captains or anything like that yet, but when you look at it, what's going to be crucial in really getting this band of so many new guys to come together and really make it feel like a team? Because I know you had this group that was so long-standing. It's going to be a lot different this year.
Yeah, very, very tight-knit group over the last couple of years, and those guys really helped turn the page on culture from what we had prior, but not only culture off the ice and a camaraderie, but the things they do on the ice too. I mean, they set the standard of excellence, and it's going to be hard to continue with that. And Ben was a huge part of that as well. But yeah, it's hard when you move on from guys like Josh Harrell, Cooper Neal, Lane, Logan Johnson, Kaner, all among others, that just really, yeah, like I said, set the standard for this team. Yes, we haven't named all of our captains yet. Josh Martin and Cade Pollock will be returning as assistants. We're still figuring out, who's going to wear the C. Are there going to be any more A's? And some of those things might be earned coming out of camp or throughout the fall semester as well. But I really see leadership in guys that are coming back, like Corey Owens. He's been a fantastic spiritual leader. He's got the most positive attitude. He wakes up every day just, and you know what you're going to get with him, attitude-wise, effort-wise. Anthony Emmy, I was floored at how he led this year, from a quiet, smaller, true freshman to just come in and kind of take the team and go with it. And there are other guys as well that are returning. CJ Selke, obviously, he's a goalie. He leads in so many ways. He's one of the most competitive guys in the ice and in the locker room, and just the ultimate teammate. So I do think that will be set from a leadership standpoint, but it's going to be more of a lead by committee than, hey, you're the captain and it's all falling on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And as this chapter with Ben Hughes officially, closes, do you have any favorite memory you want to share with from your time with him over the years?
Oh, my word. There you go. So far back in the memory bank. We've been doing it for so long. Mm-hmm. But I just reminiscing yesterday, we were standing behind the bench during one of the Liberty hockey camps together and talking about all these crazy changes that we didn't expect, and God's providence in our lives and how he works when you don't expect him to work, or sometimes he just sets you straight when you don't expect it either. And we said, hey, like, at least the last game we got to coach together was probably the most fun game we got to coach, because there was absolutely no pressure. Yeah. We're playing a high octane, super physical, aggressive team in Army, and both teams just had so much fun, and we had a ton of fun behind the bench. The guys were going nuts. Like, you could go into a moment like that and really feel bad for yourselves and lay an egg, and the guys just wore it and had so much fun. And that was one memory that I'll look back on. Near hospital experience with him where he had an allergic reaction at Nationals a couple years ago.
To the sun? Or
No, he ate something that he didn't know he was allergic to, and I kind of had a minor reaction, and then he ate significantly more of it later, knowing that.
He's like, I'm going to try these leftovers. I feel good about this
and double down.
He calls me, and we were in different rooms, and he calls me, it was, after midnight, and he's like, hey, I'm having issues here. Can you come down to my room? And I had to call my wife and call Tiffany Campbell, the AT, down to his room. And he was in a tough situation, but ended up, battling through. But we had like an early morning game the next day, like maybe 11 o'clock, and it's like 3 a.m. and we're sitting in his room. I'm like, okay, I hope this guy doesn't go into anaphylactic shock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Did he make it to the game?
Yeah.
All right.
He was totally fine at the end of it all. He can't eat whatever he ate anymore. Vegetarian.
He made
stuff.
sure.
But
I want to make sure this is what it is.
Yeah.
Another funny memory that I will never forget, and not his proudest moment, was getting pretty upset at a home game probably 4 seasons ago, maybe 3, throwing a water bottle onto the ice. But you got to love that fire coming out once in a while. Don't know that that's in my deck of cards, or in my MO.
Don't rule it out. I guess.
Yeah. I'm not typically the guy for those that know me to get 2-2 up or 2-2 down. But those ones are the funny ones that stand out. But honestly, just the way he's led this program is probably the memory that, it's all encompassing. Mm-hmm. We went from a team that kind of valued winning at all costs early on, and transformed, especially with this group that's on its way out now, to the off-ice wins are so much more important. And we're extremely competitive. You're not going to find too many people that are as competitive as we are out there in the world, but so much more matters than just winning on the ice. And it's about changing lives and training champions for Christ, and the mission of the school, and pursuing that. And that's what I'm most proud of as he closes his chapter and we go into this new one.
Yeah, no, definitely. That is what's most important, and we're so excited to see what you do with this program. So thank you so much for the time. Hope you have a great off season, and can't wait to watch you guys on the ice.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, an awesome conversation there with Christian Garland. He seems really pumped up about everything that he's building there. And like you mentioned too, Rhett, I mean, it's a clean slate for everybody at that team when you have that much turnover coming up, but he's ready to tackle it.
Yeah, no, he is. I think, too, like, it sounds like they've gotten some great commitments already to the team. Like you mentioned, I believe it was 8 forwards or 8 bodies coming in. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be a plus for him just to know, like, he was talking about the schedule, right? And trying to nail your schedule down. Like, there's uncertainty with that. And I think, too, when you have a team and you're coming into your first year as head coach, if there's uncertainty with the roster, that's a little bit like, stressful. Like, who am I going to put where? But now that he has at least a decent commitment of players coming in, he knows that there's going to be guaranteed bodies. He can start to play around with things in his head, like who do I want what where? How do I see my PK working out, power play? Mm-hmm. And I think he'll be dialing up some great stuff. And then you heard it there, Graham's going to be joining him on the bench, and those two guys are really like hockey minds. Like they love to get into the weeds of just X's and O's and thinking about certain things. So that team will be very well prepared. I'll put it that way. Between the two of them, they will probably be over prepared, if I'm 100% honest.
No, I like what you talked about, like the opportunity of a clean slate. Like a lot of guys graduating out, and this is like it's his team now. He gets to wait and see who's coming in, who Division I takes, and who shows up in the fall. Yeah. I think it'll be an exciting journey for him and also Coach Graham. And I look forward to watching and seeing what they can do this fall.
Yeah, and I think the most unique thing, too, and kind of ironic thing, too, when Ben Hughes took over 8 years ago, basically had a clean slate of a team. Yeah. Christian now gets to follow the same thing, bring some key core guys back, but then you're bringing in more than 10-plus players again, too. So I think that's huge. A little bit of a culture shift, but not too much. Yeah. And also different brand of hockey probably, too, coming in next year, which is what you're going to like to see because, like you guys have said, like it'll be his team because he's bringing in so many new bodies.
I mean, he just needs to, like, copy-paste from the Florida Panthers. Right? Talked about, he's a big fan. Let's see if you can make it happen, Christian.
How much do you want to bet, though, that'll happen? I feel like any time a guy, like somebody coaches, there's that, just that's the team you watch, you unknowingly kind of mimic them.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. And, like, you watch videos, and it's kind of like, ooh, I like that. Should I try it? And you're like, no, we've already spent 3 months on this other thing. Not implementing that right now. But it's a tricky thing.
We're just going to, D2 next year is just going to be like, little slew foots here and there, some just after the whistle, every whistle.
Elbows to goalie's head. Like, Christian, like,
watch out, tendies that are coming into the LIC. You're done for.
This guy is a fan of Bennett.
I like, too, the confidence he had. I mean, I'm like, hey, how are you guys feeling? You went to games 3 and 4, and I know game 6 is tonight. He's like, yeah, we're feeling good.
Yeah, he's living the good life. That kind of reminds me of Kachuk always says, like, oh, we've been in bigger games than this. Like they play that card very well. Yeah. Like it's funny. They troll everybody else, but they're great at what they do.
Well, and then like in the conferences post Leaf, sorry, I brought it up again, Pat. Like the fact that he's just like Kachuk's kind of like, oh yeah, I just it's tough to play in that city. Shut up.
Oh, I know. All right. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. No, it's
why'd you say sorry, Pat?
Because every time I like talk about the Leafs, like me and Rick,
Justin and I get on NHL train here.
Pat's like, hey, let's talk about that after. Okay. All right.
I mean, you guys probably do envy though that he's been there before. He can be so calm and relaxed.
If I'm 100% honest, if I was not a Leafs fan and wasn't like loyal to my team, I would like the Panthers right now.
I bet you would like the Panthers.
No, I just but you know me for as many years as I've been friends with you. Haven't I always just liked a hard physical checking team? Like they check off so many boxes on what I want. Like, I fired up Chell the other day and like simmed through a season. I was like, yep, signing Bennett and free agency. I was like, oh, this team's going to be just really hard to play against. Like how nerdy it is, but it's true.
Well, wishing the best of luck to Christian Garland's Panthers tonight. We'll see how it all shakes out. But excited to see what he's going to bring to this men's Division II team. And guys, this is the last Rock the Rink of the season, correct, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next.
Just check in. We all look at Pat. No.
So the next time we see you guys, hockey season will be on its way. So
it's crazy to think.
Yeah.
One thing I do like that Liberty Hockey's done this year, going back to the schedule really fast, is that we have games starting in early September.
I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah.
It seems like that's but that game, like September 5th against the Wolves, that's not really like, is that?
It's going to be a junior game. Like it's versus a junior team.
Yeah.
That'll be at 7:00.
Gonna sell out
everything.
Oh well, and we'll probably broadcast it. I'm assuming.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Okay, yeah.
Like, yeah. No, because like last year I think we played the Wolves, and it was more of a scrimmage.
That's what I thought it might
more
be.
so as a staff we could go through everything.
Yeah.
Kirk said, "No, we've been doing it for years. We're fine."
We're gonna roll.
We're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you like that. Yeah.
That's one thing I do like. I think hockey seasons as a whole kind of need to starting earlier.
Yeah,
It
like because
was
a lot
long
of
wait.
I feel like Liberty starts their season earlier at D1 more than other teams. A lot of them don't start until late September, early October.
I think a lot of teams mimic the NHL, and truthfully, NHL probably needs to start earlier. Like we're having playoff hockey in mid-June, like.
But honestly, I like that because it's like the last live sports besides baseball that you're gonna get. I just want it to keep dragging on.
It's just so hot, like the ice in Miami right now. I'm sure it's like skating on soup. Like it can't be great.
Well, it's a good thing they're not playing in Miami.
Yeah.
They are tonight. Game 6 is in Miami, Florida.
Sunrise.
Sunrise? Well, Miami, basically.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
Okay. Get out of here.
But just think about the golf courses that aren't getting played on by those guys. So I agree. It needs to be earlier.
Yeah.
Earlier. I feels like it has gone on. No, this is about the same time it's ending.
It's always June.
Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah. Well, early September is when it's all going down for the Liberty Men's Division I Flames, and I'm sure all the other teams will follow shortly after. But we'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for tuning in for another season of the Rock the Rink podcast. We'll see you in the fall.